So when will you see an open channel where both those gates are open? Well, let's do a little calculation. Let's go to minus 30. Okay? At minus 30 millivolts, I look at my activation gates, and they're open. They're mostly open. We're at about 70% open here. So if you were to look at that membrane, which when it's at minus 30, if it's been held there for a second, that's what you'll find. But look at our inactivation gate. At minus 30, completely closed. So there are no open channels at minus 30. Now, I just said that the action potential peaks at about what? Plus 20, plus 30? So the question is, how can the sodium channel work at all if I multiply those two probabilities and get 0? And that's at minus 20. At plus 20, it's really going to be 0 because the inactivation gates are really going to be closed. Okay? So how do you get any flow of sodium? How do you get a membrane to depolarize when at depolarized potentials it's completely inactivated? The reason is because these gates open over time differently. Your activation gate is like you guys, okay? This lecture was early in the morning. You guys jumped out of bed early, and you got up and you came in here and you're at lecture, all right? Your activation gates, boom, out of bed, ready to go, okay? Voltage goes up, you guys open, you're ready to go, you're, okay? You've moved. Now, there are a bunch of people at home who are now watching this video. They are inactivation gates. Okay. Their alarms went off, and they turned around and they turned them off, and they laid there in bed for a couple more hours, and then they got up and they rubbed their eyes, and then after a long period of time, they finally got out of bed and got moving and pulled up this video and found out that I'm insulting them. Okay. So that is the difference between your two gates. Your activation gates, when the voltage goes up, wham, they open quick. They're ready to go. Microseconds, they're up and they're going, okay, and they're open. The voltage goes up, the inactivation gates want to close, okay, but they're slow. You know, takes them a while to get going, so they don't close very quickly. And while they're getting themselves going, getting up, getting breakfast, downloading the video, sodium's flowing across that membrane, okay, and it's depolarizing the membrane. And now we peak at about plus 20 or something. And now our inactivation gates finally start to close. And we've downloaded the video and we've started to watch it. And now, finally, the voltage stops rising. But in between those two periods of time, sodium flows. So yes, if I take the voltage and I put it at plus 20 and I hold it there for a second and let everything come to steady state, the majority of, almost all the inactivation gates will be closed, okay? But that doesn't happen immediately. And during that first half a millisecond or so, you have a bunch of open activation gates and a bunch of inactivation gates that haven't gotten around to closing yet. And that's why your voltage goes up, okay? It's a time-dependent thing. And it's the time dependence that allows your action potential to be generated, that allows the voltage to go up, and then eventually terminate.